When handling your reverse shells, it's very common to make mistakes when you're typing. For example, with this Linux reverse shell on this Ubuntu machine, we have made a mistake in our command. If I try to backspace to fix it and retype something else, all I get are these *h characters, which is basically the ASCII representation of the backspace key. The backspace is technically working. If I type 1, 2, 3 and backspace 4 times and hit enter, there's no error. However, if our command is very long, like all this gibberish I'm typing, we're not really sure where the fix is. A solution for this lies in setting the stty variable of escape, our backspace ASCII character. Checking it with stty-a, we can see that the erase character is set to !? That is the ASCII representation of the delete key. So if we do stty erase !H and hit enter, when we check again, we can see that our erase variable is now set to the backspace character. So when I listen for the reverse shell connection, and let's get a new reverse shell connection. Now if I type a bunch of garbage, I'm able to backspace as normal. Something that I missed during the first take of this section with netcat is that if I do stty-a, and let's say that in this case I forget to type the stty erase !H before I start my reverse shell, so I'm going to erase this by now typing instead just the handler, grabbing our reverse shell, and when I backspace, as we can see, same problem, but a quick fix when using netcat is we can just do ctrl-z, background our netcat, type stty erase !H like before, and then foreground the process to bring the shell back. And now when I backspace, it works as intended. Alternatively, this bug does happen in frameworks like msfconsole. Use web.live, ES5, set LHOST, if0, set out port to 9001, set target to 2. So if we show targets, we want to set our target to PowerShell because I'm going to move to a Windows box for this next part of the demonstration. Options. We just need to change our payload option and our serve port. So set serve port to 1234, set payload Windows X 64 interpreter reverse TCP, run, and I'm going to copy all of the PowerShell. Going to our Windows box, I have Windows Defender turned off because that's not part of the scope of this video. Open up a CMD prompt, run it, and get our interpreter session. All right, so the session in question doesn't have this issue. If I type a bunch of stuff and hit backspace, there's no problem. However, if I type the shell command, if I type a bunch of garbage and try to backspace, I get the special character. For this to work with msfconsole, you can't background Metasploit and foreground it. The only way to actually properly fix it is to completely close out of Metasploit, run the stty command at the start. Before you run msfconsole, use web.live, ES5, set payload again. Set all of our options again, serve port 1234, set target to 2, looks good. Copy all of our code again, go back to Windows, CMD and run again. Drop back into our session. But now when we type shell, when we type a bunch of garbage, our backspace works. Perfect. Even though this bug affects msfconsole, it might not affect all your tools. If we create a new window and show that the erase variable is still set to the question mark, to catch our reverse shell, I'm going to be using villain, generate, payload, windows, reverse, and then PowerShell. And as we can see, when we try to generate it, it gives all of our options. So LHOST equals each 0, and then we want to do encode. Perfect. Going back to our Windows machine, we can do CMD again, slap in our villain, PowerShell, reverse shell. We get a new session in villain, type sessions, and then to interact with our session, we just type shell, and then the session name. But when I use the backspace, we get no issues. It works as intended perfectly fine. If I ctrl-c back into villain, do ctrl-z to stop the villain job, when I double check again with our stty, we can see that even though the erase character is still set to the question mark like before, going back into villain, sessions, shell, backspace isn't affected. If you're tired of having to type stty erase $h before every time you try to catch a reverse shell, when you're doing your CTF machines, a simple solution is to echo this string into your bashrc. But before doing that, I'm going to first cd to the home directory, copy bashrc into bashrc.back, just in case we make a mistake and we want to restore our original file, and then echo stty erase $h into our bashrc file. When updating your current session, you would use the source command. We do stty-a and then grep for erase, update it with our new bashrc, and stty-a grep erase. We can see that it changed. Alternatively, you can open a new window, stty-a grep erase, and we can see that our new window is set to the backspace character. So stty-a, we can grab erase again, and has been changed. Now listening again, let's listen on 8900, and we'll use a different tool, revshell.ps1, to create our reverse shell. With the same Windows target, gives us our reverse shell. We're going to just grab all of this, go back to our Windows box, paste in our reverse shell with PowerShell-E, execute it, get our connection like before, but our backspace does still work. And that concludes this video. Thanks for watching. All the commands will be in the description below, and this extra resource for where I found the original solution for this problem. Hope everyone is doing well, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.